If you get a call from a no-caller ID, always answer it. Because I got one the other day, picked it up, and a very official-sounding man immediately goes, "Am I speaking with Reginald?" And I'm not Reginald, so I say no. And he hangs up on me instantly. Doesn't even say sorry, just click. Now normally that's where it ends. But the very next day, I get another no-caller ID call. And when I pick up, I recognize the exact same voice from the day before. And he goes, "Hello, am I speaking with Reginald?" And in that moment, I made a decision that changed my entire week. I said, yes, this is Reginald. Because I figured, if this man is going to waste my time 2 days in a row, I'm going to waste his right back, and I'm going to enjoy it. So he perks right up and says he's calling about my vehicle's extended warranty and asks if I'd be interested in renewing coverage. And I say, absolutely, I've been so worried about my vehicle. He asks what kind of vehicle I drive. Now, I don't own a car, but Reginald does. So I tell him I drive a 1994 school bus that I have converted into my primary residence. There's a pause. He asks me to repeat that. I say, it's a bus. I live in it. Her name is Deborah. He clears his throat and pushes forward like a professional, asking about the mileage. I tell him Deborah has done 400,000 miles and only pulls slightly to the left when it rains. He says, and I quote, "We can work with that." At this point, I am fully committed to the bit, so I start asking him questions. I ask if the warranty covers Deborah's roof garden. He asks what a roof garden is. I explain that I grow tomatoes on top of the bus and one of them has gotten aggressive. He goes quiet for a second and then says the warranty does not typically cover produce. I tell him that's disappointing because the tomato situation is really my main concern, not the engine. He tries to steer me back to the coverage plans, and I ask him if the plan includes Deborah's emotional well-being, because ever since we moved to a colder climate, she's been making a sad noise. He says, "Sir, the bus does not have feelings." And I say, Reginald believes she does, and he did not have a response prepared for that. Then he tried a new angle and asked if there were any other drivers on the policy, which I assume is a real question they ask real people. I told him yes, Deborah is occasionally operated by my emotional support rooster, a gentleman named Clint, who doesn't have a license but does have excellent instincts. The salesman said very slowly that a rooster cannot legally drive a bus, and I said, that's exactly the kind of discrimination Clint and I have learned to expect. I could hear him typing, then stopping, then not typing, like his computer simply did not have a field for any of this. We went back and forth for a genuinely impressive amount of time. He kept trying to get my billing information, and I kept getting distracted with new bus problems. At one point, I told him I needed to put him on hold because Deborah's check engine light had started doing something spiritual. I set the phone down, made myself a sandwich, came back 4 minutes later, and the man was still there, still waiting. That's dedication. I have honestly never felt more respected by a stranger. This man had no idea I owned 0 vehicles and had listed a rooster on my imaginary insurance, and he was still fighting for my business like his entire livelihood depended on it, which, tragically, it probably did. Eventually, he asked, with a note of genuine exhaustion, whether I actually intended to purchase a warranty today, and I said, Reginald never makes financial decisions during a full moon, and I hung up before he could recover. So here's my advice. Always answer the no-caller ID, because somewhere out there is a warranty salesman who now believes there is a man named Reginald living in a 400,000-mile school bus named Deborah with an aggressive tomato and a check engine light that communicates on a higher plane. And if he ever calls you, I need you to protect the lore. Tell him Reginald says hello, that Deborah is doing much better, and that the tomato situation has, tragically, escalated. Do not break character. We're building something beautiful here, one wasted phone call at a time, and it would be a real shame to let all that hard work go to waste now.